Hey darlings, I'm Danetha, the creator of Money Mimosas. I'm a money mystic, a financial psychologist, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the insights that I see from the Aries New Moon, particularly how it relates to the flow of money and very specifically, how it relates to the US dollar. If you have tuned into my videos before, welcome back. If you're new to my videos, welcome. So excited that you happen to find my channel on this very vast world known as the internet. If you have listened to my videos before, particularly my new and full moon money readings, you'll know that this video is a little bit different, and my full and new moon money readings will be different moving forward. Previously, I shared insights as best I could on how the energy of the new moon and the full moon would impact the flow of abundance. And when it comes to astrology, it's very individual. As soon as each of us took our first breath, the way the planets and the zodiac signs were aligned, we had a snapshot essentially when we took our first breath, and it does play a role in who we are as individuals. And my videos previously tried to help give you some insight into how the new and full moon would impact your flow of abundance and ways that you could tap more into your prosperity using planetary money magic. I do that in my own personal life and in my own way of attracting abundance and calling forth manifestation. However, it's really tough to give general advice, general insights rather, when I don't know who you are and I don't have, it's impossible to be able to give very specific, detailed information when everyone's got an individual chart. We are literally all snowflakes, if you will, in the best way. You know, how snowflakes are very unique and pretty. You know what I mean. So it was really challenging and it felt out of alignment for me to share information in that way. I always preface my videos by saying this is very general, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And so I felt in integrity sharing that information, but something just felt off. It didn't feel in alignment. And my work is all about being in alignment with our soul's purpose to be in the flow of abundance. And I felt out of alignment in that way. However, I knew that astrology was something that I wanted to incorporate in my work that I share with all of you because I work with it in my own personal life, and I know how powerful planetary money magic and rituals surrounding the planets and the energy of the zodiac and using astrology is it's transformative when it comes to any aspect of our life. Particularly my focus is on the financial aspect of our life, so I knew I wanted to share information and I just didn't know how to share it. And things over these past few months, really since the onset of COVID 19, I personally have found that I have become more and more in alignment with who I truly am and really feel I am in a place of full self realization. There's always room to expand and grow and all those things, but I really feel like I have come to a place where all areas of my life are kind of like fitting together, like the gears are melded, are now together. You know, before they were way apart, then they started coming closer and closer together, and now I really feel like they're like this. And this was one of those final pieces that locked in for me. And what locked in was sharing how to work with the energy of the US dollar. That's something that I've been practicing, and it is something that it resonates for me. And so I'm sharing this information, and perhaps it'll be helpful and resonant for you. I'm going to share why I decided to choose the US dollar, and also then for this Aries new moon give some introductory information because the Aries new moon, we all know, or perhaps you're new to astrology, so I'm not going to assume, but Aries is the beginning of the zodiac sign. So we're now in the Aries season, and the Aries new moon, the new moon is about setting intentions, planting seeds. It's a time of birth, newness, and it's a perfect time, an auspicious time for me to now be sharing this insight on the energy of the US dollar. And you can, and if there's something that I share within this video that resonates with you and kind of nudges you and gives you some insight into how you can align with your own flow of abundance, that would make my heart sing with joy. All right, so let me grab my notes. I'll make sure I don't forget anything. So, before I jump into the energy of the US dollar, I want to share why I'm focusing on the US dollar. I am Jamaican American. I was raised in the United States. I was born in the United States, raised in the United States. I currently live in the United States. In fact, I'm in a new place right now since August of 2020. My fiance and I have been practicing physical distancing, and we've been doing it by Airbnb hopping. So each month we've been in a new Airbnb. By the time it's a full year, so August 2021 of this year, we will have been in 10 states, all very safe. We've been road tripping to these locations. We go to places where we don't know anyone. So we aren't hanging out with folks, and we're in nature. We chose spots that are by rivers, that are very nature-esque, so that we can be outside a lot. So I'm in a new place right now, and you'll be seeing different backgrounds because of that. So wanted to share a little bit about my personal life for you. I chose the US dollar because I am American. That is the currency that I know intimately and the one that I've been working with the most. So it is an integrity for me to share that information rather than another currency. I wanted to preface it with that, especially because I am very much aware of how American culture, Western culture in general, American culture specifically, has done its it tries to be the focus of everything. It definitely centers itself, and so I wanted to share that's why I am centering the US dollar, not as a slight to any other currency or culture, but simply because that's the one that I know. And I'm also first generation American, so I completely understand the issue that comes with centering certain cultures and by default forgetting others. And that's not my intention. So I wanted to make sure I prefaced it with that. The other reason that I'm focusing on the US dollar is very much about the data. The US dollar is the currency that is most used within the world. And I'll share some stats with you. Beginning with the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, that's when, by and large, the US dollar became the reserve currency for many countries. And meaning that before, many currencies were tied to gold, and beginning with the Bretton Woods Agreement, many countries moved the backing of their own currency to the US dollar. And then after the Bretton Woods Agreement, the US dollar actually moved off of gold. So now many countries back up the reserve for their currency is the US dollar. In 2019, 88% of all foreign exchange trades were in the US dollar. 40% of the world's debt is denominated by the US dollar. So the US dollar has a huge impact on global economic systems, on the flow of money in general. So it makes sense to focus on the most dominant currency. And once that currency changes, if it ever does, I will start looking at another currency. But for now, the US dollar is the most dominant currency, and that's why I'm focusing on that one. In addition to, it's the currency that I know best, and it's astrologically the one that I've been focused on, and aligning my energetic work with it. So let's talk about the US dollar and its astrological reading. Just like you have a natal chart, if you've never pulled your natal chart, I'll include a link down below that you can use to be able to pull yours. You can, each individual can pull their natal chart, and you can also pull a natal chart for an event. You can pull the natal chart of the birth of the United States, which most folks would say is July 4th, 1776, when the United States declared its independence. I use the birthday of the US dollar. The US dollar was born on April 2nd, 1792. And it was born through the Coinage Act of 1792 in Philadelphia. That's when the president signed into law that the US now officially has its own currency. And that's when it was born. And it's gone through several iterations since then. A big one actually happened to be in 1914, but the official birth date of the US dollar was April 2nd, 1792. And I use this birthday to pull the astrological chart of the flow of money as it relates to the US and the US dollar, because, as opposed to Independence Day, July 4th, 1776, because it makes it more specific. Astrology and money loves specificity, loves focus, and that's why I work with that birth date. There's some background for you so you can understand where I'm coming from. Now, with that birth date, let me go back to my notes. That means that the US dollar is an Aries. Aries is all about the being the initiator. It's the one that's bold, it takes risks. It's a fiery sign. So that's its sun sign. And then its moon sign is Leo. Leo, it's interesting. So Leo's moon sign, which are moon signs as individuals when it comes to emotions, those are our emotional needs. And when it comes to money, I found that the moon sign reveals the money challenges, the money blocks, if you will, to overcome within our lifetime in order to be in the flow of abundance. And my whole philosophy with working with astrology in terms of the flow of abundance and understanding our prosperity paths is that it is a process. Being in the flow of abundance is about self-realization. The more you are truly yourself, the more abundance will flow to you, the more easeful it will be to manifest money. So that is why I started working with planetary money magic and aligning my decisions with how the planets were moving and transiting, and also getting an insight into who I am as an individual. And so when I talk about these things, that's something and an invitation to you as well to look at your astrological chart, as the more you are in alignment with who you are, then the more easeful it will be to manifest money. So when it comes to the moon sign, that I have seen is where folks can find the money blocks, the money challenges, that if they work with them, work through them, alchemize them, they will be able to more easily manifest money. I say easily, not easily, because it does still take effort, but the process is a lot more enjoyable. It's more of an adventure once you're able to recognize the little roadblocks that were put there for you as a gift from the universe. So the moon sign Leo, they it needs to shine. The US dollar yearns to be the center of attention, yet it somewhat feels uncomfortable doing so. And it's in part because it's been burned by being the center of attention. It's not quite sure how to balance wanting to be the center of attention with the US dollar also has a lot of aspects of justice, wanting to fight for justice, wanting to fight for balance on its natal chart as well. So there's that tension between wanting to be the center of attention, wanting to be self focused, some may say selfish, and also balancing that though with wanting to bring forth justice and the opportunity for all different kinds of folks and their all different kinds of folks and their intentions and their needs to be met as well. So there's always that tension with the moon in Leo for the US dollar. And it is also addicted to external validation. It's always looking outside of itself to be validated that it's worthy. And if you think about the U.S. history, you know, um, I see the U.S. as a country, an entity, as the child of the UK, of the British Empire, and so it was for a long time trying to figure out how to be its own identity. And I still think that the US is trying to figure out its own identity. And you can see that so clearly in the US dollar. Um, that is the challenge with the moon, the Leo in moon, or the moon in Leo rather. That the challenge for the U.S. dollar is to find its own identity. That's the opportunity, the money block, and being able to find its own identity where it can shine and also balance the aspects of Libra where its Jupiter placement is, which is all about um, justice and recognizing other folks' needs, balancing that tension, the self and other tension is very strong in the US dollar. And we can see that, right? We can see that there are so many examples that the US dollar, the US economic system has done right by creating a system of justice where folks can realize the American dream. And we can also very clearly see where that is not the case. And it has been used to keep to it's been used to allow certain groups to put their boots on others' necks so that they can climb up. And so that's that tension of being highly self-focused to the point of being highly narcissistic, and also you see that it's trying to be a place for everyone to be able to thrive. And so that tension is there, and that's very prominent in the moon sign, which is in Leo. Back to the sun sign, Aries. It's Aries, when it comes to the sun sign on our natal chart, when it relates to money, our sun sign is all about innate currency, like our medicine that we offer to the world. And the more that we find ways to offer our medicine, the more we are gifted with material abundance, money. And a sun sign in Aries is about being the initiator, about taking risks. It's about renewal. Aries was here before all the other zodiac signs. So it had to figure out everything before all the zodiac signs showed up. And that's Aries' gift. It's its medicine that it leads the way. It's that bright, fiery ball leading the way for everyone else to be able to see around those dark corners, because Aries has already lit the path for the other signs to be able to navigate their way. And that's what the US dollar's innate currency is. It is, I believe, leading the way to show how a currency, an economic system, and when I say economic system, I'm not talking about socialism or capitalism. I'm just talking about economic systems in general. Um, the Aries placement of the US dollar is leading the way of showing how monetary policy, how economic systems can have the potential of creating an environment where everyone can thrive. And historically, we haven't had any example of that happening. Any example. We have had different pockets of economic systems working for the majority, but But generally speaking, we haven't had a, a clear example of how an economic system, how a monetary policy can be structured so that all different kinds of groups can flourish and thrive. We certainly have examples in a lot of folks will point to the socialist. Uh, We'll point to the Scandinavian countries as an example where a system can be put in place where lots of folks can thrive. I challenge those examples only because it's not a system of all different kinds of cultures coming together to create this economic experience. It is by and large monolithic groups, and so the US challenge and opportunity is to be that guiding light to show how all of these different cultures, religious backgrounds, races, um, all of these different identities can be able to find a way to thrive in their own way underneath this umbrella of the US dollar. And there's so much to share with the US dollar. I want to make sure I keep this video short. I mean, I want to talk about its Jupiter placement. Jupiter is all about expansion. I want to talk about its Venus placement. However, for this video, I want to talk about specifically Pluto. Pluto is the planet that signifies the underworld, it signifies transformation. Uh, it can be a very jarring experience when Pluto is in transit in certain signs. Um, the Pluto placement for the US dollar is in Aquarius, and Aquarius has to do with intellect and the mind. And from what I believe and see through this reading, through the reading of the general chart of the US dollar, is that the US dollar is bringing forth a new way of thinking of money. That is the transformative nature of Pluto in Aquarius. It's bringing forth new intellectual conversations about what is money, how is money supposed to be used, utilized, how do we manage this, and either create thriving systems for everyone or continue to create huge discrepancies in wealth or huge disparities within wealth. That is the question that is at the heart of many economic discussions. And with Pluto in Aquarius for the US dollar, the US dollar is causing more intellectual, it's creating situations for us to question intellectually, what does money mean? And we're starting to see this um, with the rise of cryptocurrency, NFTs, and certainly going back to the birth of the US dollar, to the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944, to moving the US dollar off of gold. There have been clear touch points within history where the US dollar has been the initiator in all of us collectively, globally, rethinking what is money? What is money? Is it energy? Is it gold? Is it paper? Is it digital? What is money? And when we decide what is money, what does that mean about how we approach economic policies, monetary policy? And so that is the transformative nature of the US dollar. And for your personal chart, when you look at it, look at where your Pluto placement is. And if you're looking at your chart in terms of money, that is where you'll see a lot, an opportunity. That's an invitation for transformation if you are looking to elevate, transform your financial experience. Now, Pluto, all of us are under the energy of Pluto is currently in Capricorn. Pluto went into the Capricorn sign in 2008, and 2008 was a transformative economic year. It created a lot of pain and destruction. And Pluto will be in Capricorn it was started in 2008 and it'll be in Capricorn through the end of 2023. Capricorn is all about systems, particularly we can include economic systems within that. And so we have seen a destruction of systems that are now overdue for change. And what Pluto does is it's transformative, so that means there's destruction and creation, there's destruction and rebirth. So before a newness can be brought forth, there has to be a dissolving of an old way of being. And so we've all been under Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, and that'll be through 2023. 2024, Pluto moves into Aquarius, which that is the placement for the US dollar. Pluto in Aquarius. And over these next 3 years, from 2021 until 2024, the invitation, as I see it, is to focus on the money mindset, the intellect, the mind, and how it relates to money, how you think about money. Because the US dollar, being the leader, because it's in Aries, being the leader is going to create more and more conversations, and there's going to be a lot of change as Pluto moves into Aquarius around how we think about money. And I like to say that astrology isn't about predicting the future, it's about doing the math, seeing where the planets will line up in accordance to the zodiac signs, and then going inward to see how each of us can evolve, or what does our evolved self have to say about meeting that moment. So I can't predict what's going to happen once Pluto moves into Aquarius. All I'm saying is that is going to happen. And for me personally, I am reflecting on, okay, so that moment is going to happen. It's going to be several years of Pluto being in Aquarius. How do I want to meet that moment as an individual, and particularly in my relationship with money? How do I want to shift my way of thinking around money so that I can meet that moment and be my most evolved self that I can be for that moment? And that is the message that I wanted to share today for the US dollar Aries New Moon. This particular Aries New Moon is about taking risks, being bold, being the initiator. I believe that with the US dollar, there are going to continue to be seeds planted. We're seeing this with NFTs. I mentioned that before, and some other things that are bubbling up that indicate that the US dollar is going to be an initiator for that transformative shift in the way we think about money. So take that as a personal invitation as well. If that resonates with you, what are some ways that you can initiate change around the way you think about money? What are some things you can do about your money mindset to elevate your own financial experience? And that is it for this video. If I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like, a comment. Um, and if you want more insights that I share around the astrological, if you want more astrological readings, I should say, of the US dollar, you can check out Money Mystics on my site, moneymimosas.com. Like I said, this is my first video doing this information about the US dollar, and I'm really jazzed about it. I'm really excited. I have a lot of hope for what the US dollar can do to create more economic prosperity for larger groups of people. It will take work, and it will take work for each of us to do our own inner work of aligning the way we make money, build wealth with our highest, most expanded self. And I do believe that the more of us that align our financial endeavors with the our journey of self-realization, the more we'll see a collective shift in the way money flows in the world, how the flow of abundance is able to reach more people and not be so stagnant in pockets of communities. So that's my hope for all of us. That's my intention with sharing this information. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.